What's going on YouTube? It's Snowflaky Zemos. I'm here today with another new deck profile. This is for my Berserk Dragon deck. Berserk Dragon here is one of my favorite cards of all time. Definitely a top 10 for me. Really cool monster. It's a 3,500 attack monster with 8 stars. It has a cool effect where it can attack all monsters on the field at once, but at the end phase of your turn, it loses 500 attack. So it's like a rotting dragon, especially because it's a Nomi monster that's required to be summoned off of the Deal with Dark Ruler spell, which requires you to have a level 8 monster that was sent to the graveyard. But anyway, this has always been making fun versions of this deck to play casually. And so I've put this one together. It's Berserk Dragon, and he gets to be on the field with the help of the Blue Eyes cards. So it's pretty sweet. If you're a big fan of Berserk Dragon, let's check it out. Starting off with our monsters, I am playing 2 copies of Berserk Dragon. Berserk Dragon is the boss monster, 3,500 attack, cannot be normal summoned or set, has to be special summoned by a Deal with Dark Ruler. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, pretty sweet. And of course, during each of your end phases, this card loses 500 attack. So, 3,500 attack, clears monsters, pretty good. Definitely will do that. And, Deal with Dark Ruler is the spell card that's mentioned on it. It essentially says that if a level 8 or higher monster you control was sent to the graveyard this turn, you can special summon Berserk Dragon from your hand or deck. And it's a quick play spell. So overall, other than the fact that it requires just a separate card to summon, it can be summoned out of the deck, so it's not too hard to get out Berserk Dragon, as long as you have lots of level 8 monsters. And man, do we do in this deck. Because next up is our 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes White Dragon, of course, is a deck full of various level 8 monsters and things that synergize well with this. So it is the perfect kind of backbone to put Berserk Dragon on. And of course it's cool thematically because Berserk Dragon is like a rotting dead dragon. So if your Blue Eyes, gets destroyed and goes to the graveyard, it's like it comes back as Berserk, which is pretty sweet. Blue Eyes White Dragon, of course, is the 8-star 3,000 attack monster, Kaiba's ace. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you know this card, and Konami certainly knows this card because they give it love all the time. Next up, I'm playing 1 copy of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. This is a very recent card that is pretty cool. It just says that other cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is pretty cool. And you can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon once per turn, and can only be used once per turn, and can only be activated while Blue Eyes White Dragon is on the field or in your graveyard. So it does require you to have Blue Eyes on the field or in your graveyard. That's pretty easy in this deck, so not much of an actual cost. Essentially, if this card is in your graveyard and a card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card. So this is pretty nice. If you have this in the graveyard and your Blue Eyes gets destroyed, you might be able to summon this and Berserk Dragon. And what's nice is Blue Eyes Jet Dragon here is an 8-star monster, so even once this Jet Dragon goes, we can pull off Berserk Dragon, which is pretty sweet. And of course, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles, you can target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So pretty cool. We can bounce a card back to the hand. A monster that we can constantly resummon is just a great tool to have in the Blue Eyes deck. And so, we don't usually need more than 1 copy, so I only have 1. And as a result, it does its job. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. This card is less good in this version of the deck because it's a very trap control oriented playstyle, but it's good to have just as an extra body and extender. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by revealing Blue Eyes White Dragon in the hand, and then if you do, you special summon it. Of course, you can only special summon 1 Blue Eyes Alternative once per turn, and this card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, and then you can target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. So pretty cool. You can pop a card and then fusion this away, or just get another free 3,000 attack monster. It's another 8-star, so good for Berserk Dragon. So, we play it in the deck. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Dictator of D. This is a pretty cool card. Another great card that helps this trap control style of Blue Eyes gameplay. Basically, while you control a Blue Eyes White Dragon monster, you can choose the attack targets for your opponent's attack. Pretty cool. Do note that it's, it does mean they still have to attack a monster on your field. None of that playground, attack your own monster type thing going on. So you can only use each effect of the following effects once per turn. Once per turn, you can send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Very cool. That's going to get our Blue Eyes in the grave, which is, there's a lot of ways to bring it back in this deck, and then we need that for Jet Dragon to go off. So lots of good stuff going on there. And then, of course, you can discard one Blue Eyes White Dragon or one card that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon and target a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. So if you have another Blue Eyes White Dragon, or some card that mentions it, just discard it, get your Blue Eyes back. That gets it on the field, lets you have it on the field for Berserk Dragon. All sorts of cool stuff. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of the White Stone of Ancients. White Stone of Ancients is a 1-star tuner monster. It just says once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you could special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck. So that's awesome. That will that can get you Jet Dragon right out of the deck. That can get you a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Plenty of stuff there. And we plan all these cards because we really want to get out those Blue Eyes White Dragons quick. And then, of course, this card even has a nice secondary effect that you can banish this card from the graveyard to target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. This is really nice for alternative White Dragon, because if, we played it and spent it in the graveyard, we can add it back to our hand. And if we have Blue Eyes in our hand, reveal it again, summon it. Or if we have this and need to add Blue Eyes, we could do that. So plenty of options, and of course it is a 1-star light tuner, which allows us to go into our Blue Eyes Synchro cards, which are good to have. So, yep, that is a good card. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Sage with Eyes of Blue. Pretty good card. It's a 1-star tuner. When this card is normal summoned, you add a level 1 light tuner from the deck to your hand, except Sage with Eyes of Blue. So this can add us our Stone of Ancients, or our next card, the White Stone of Legend, which is just a card that says when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to your hand. That's not hard to do, and it gets us Blue Eyes, so we are all about that. And that is it for our monsters. Next, we're taking a look at spell cards. I am playing 3 copies of a Deal with Dark Ruler. A bit overkill, especially because we only have 2 Berserk Dragons, but since this variant of the deck is made to summon Berserk Dragon, I want to summon Berserk Dragon as much as I can, and maxing out on this card helps us do so. It's a quick play spell that just says if a level 8 or higher monster you control was sent to the graveyard this turn, special summon a Berserk Dragon from your hand or deck. So quick play means we can do it on both our turn and our opponent's turn, which is pretty nice, and it doesn't have to be right at the moment, so you can wait till the end phase and then summon Berserk Dragon at the end so that you have it ready to go. And so it's pretty sweet. Good card, easy to do. We have a lot of level 8 monsters that'll be constantly going from the field to the grave. Things like our Blue Eyes, our Jet Dragon. We're kind of bouncing monsters between the grave and the field, so when they hit the grave, we just play this card, and we get our Berserk Dragon online. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of the Melody of Awakening Dragons. Discard a card to add 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. This can get us any of our Blue Eyes White Dragon. This can get us the Jet Dragon. This can get us alternative White Dragon. Whichever those dragons we're looking for, we can get them. And we can discard cards like White Stone of Ancients, White Stone of Legend to get even cards off of them. And we can get rid of dead cards that we don't need. So it's pretty good. Adds 2 cards that we really need to get things moving to our hand. So we're going to play it. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Ultimate Fusion. During the main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And of course, by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck, which is pretty cool. We'll have cards to pull them back out afterward. And then you can destroy face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragons and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons from the field as material. So, get to destroy some cards, get to fusion summon, which is good. That removes our level 8s from the field, gets us Berserk Dragon, pretty cool. So it's definitely a cool card. Mostly pretty good because we have a trap card that can easily just pull this from our deck, and that is awesome to have. Next up, I'm playing a copy of Dragon Shrine. Just another way to get my Blue Eyes in the grave. You can send Blue Eyes, and then you can send Jet Dragon, or you can send White Stone, whichever card you need. It just gets things moving. Basically, it sends a dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then if it was a normal monster, you can send another one. So, good card, one copy, we just want to get it in the grave. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. While you do make some cool extra deck stuff in Blue Eyes, it's not the most needed, especially in this kind of deck playstyle that we're doing. So we're going to turn our extra deck into card advantage, banishing 3 to 6 extra deck cards face down, drawing a card for every 3 that we did. So we banish 6, draw 2. Can't use any more draw effects during this, but not a big deal. And then last for spells, I'm playing 1 copy of Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, kind of a card I've been trying out in Blue Eyes builds in general, because it states that non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. So that means every Blue Eyes White Dragon is now unaffected by monster effects, which is pretty cool, especially because it's a 3000 attack monster that's harder to get rid of if you don't have effects to remove it. And if you control a face down or non-effect monster, you can draw 2 cards. So if you leave a Blue Eyes on the field and have this card, your opponent special summons an effect monster, well, you're drawing 2 cards. And, that's pretty nice. Enough, though, that I'm, trying out 1 copy. If it doesn't work out, I'll switch it. But definitely was intriguing enough to make me want to try it. And that is it for our spell cards. Next, getting into our trap cards, I am playing 3 copies of True Light. This card is pretty powerful and helps facilitate this play style of the deck. Essentially, your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragons you control with card effects, which is pretty nice. Now, if this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you'd have to destroy all monsters you control. That can be pretty damaging, but the pros of this card make it too good not to run. Once per turn, you can activate either of these 2 effects on this card, either special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard, or set a spell trap directly from your deck that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon. We can use this to set Ultimate Fusion, and we can also use this to set our next card, which is 1 copy of Ultimate Creature of Destruction, mostly in here just because True Light can set it. Now, with Ultimate Creature of Destruction, you can target a Blue Eyes monster you control. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by card effects except its own. It cannot be destroyed by battle, or also any opponent's monster it battles is destroyed at the end of the damage step. So if Blue Eyes doesn't destroy a monster by battle for some reason, it does, with an effect afterward, which is pretty cool. And then while this card is in your graveyard, if you normal summon or set Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So pretty cool. Some decent effects, mostly in here just to pull out of the deck with True Light because it's decent enough and you can essentially set it for free. So, we'll take advantage of that. Next up, big win con for this deck. 3 copies of Skill Drain. Skill Drain at 3 right now is a huge boost to Blue Eyes decks because when monster effects on the field are negated, which is what Skill Drain does for the cost of 1,000 life points, continuous trap that negates monster effects while they're face up on the field. And when that happens, 3,000 attack Blue Eyes become a lot more threatening when you don't have monster effects to combo or, remove Blue Eyes with. And this card also synergizes really well with Berserk Dragon, because while you are no longer able to attack every monster on the field your opponent controls, it means that it's no longer going to lose attack, so you have a 3,500 beat stick that's going to stay at 3,500. So, it's good if you don't have it. It's still good if you do have Skill Drain. And Skill Drain will just win you so many matchups. Definitely got to be taking advantage of this while it's at 3. And at Blue Eyes, it has a good home in Blue Eyes. Next up, just some trap cards to help disrupt things. I am playing 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute is pretty good in this True Light version of Blue Eyes because you can play Torrential Tribute even if you have a board, wipe your own board, disrupt your opponent's combo, and True Light can bring your Blue Eyes that you destroyed just back, or you can go cycle into Jet Dragon, so you won't lose a lot and you can disrupt an opponent's play. Pretty cool. In the regular trap control version, you definitely max out on this card, but I have a little less of the traps for the fun Berserk Dragon variant, but Torrential Tribute is pretty good. Next up, I'm playing 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Pay 1,500 life points to negate a monster effect or a special summon. Just a pretty good card. Life points aren't a real cost for the most part, and both those effects are incredibly powerful. And last, I am playing 2 copies of Solemn Judgment. Pay half your life points to negate a summon or a spell or trap card activation. Really good, pretty good for protecting your True Light, which can be important at a crucial juncture, and also, just protecting your skill drain, which is the main use of Solemn Judgment, and it's almost worth running at 3 over it. If I wasn't playing the fun Berserk Dragon variant, probably would. But yeah, just a good card to be playing and have access to. And that is it for our main deck. Next, going into our extra deck, I am playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. I'm maxing out this card at 3 copies because I don't want to banish all of them off of Extravagance. I want to have 1 to use with Ultimate Fusion because it's usually the best target. It requires 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons to fusion. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by sending the above monsters you control to the graveyard, in which case you do not need polymerization, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, and this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters per turn. Then, if this card battled an opponent's monster and that monster was not destroyed, you can banish it at the end of the damage step. So pretty cool. Can attack 2 monsters, so you're not missing out on any damage on monsters by fusioning away 2 Blue Eyes. And of course, if the monster isn't destroyed for any reason, maybe it's got battle destruction, you simply just banish it. And that is pretty sweet. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. Pretty good. It requires 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons to make. Your opponent cannot target or destroy this card with card effects. Very powerful with this monster's 4,500 attack. And then once per turn, you can target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that's nice. And you basically do that instead of attacking because it says this card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. But if one of the monsters using to fusion summon this card, original name is Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, you can target up to 3 cards your opponent controls and destroy them. Another reason to play the 1 alternative, if you use alternative to fusion summon this, man, you're going to pop a lot of cards instead of attacking. But that's pretty cool. Just a good option to have for the extra deck. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Link Karibo, another card I'm maxed out on because it's very important that I do not banish all of these with Extravagance. Essentially, Link Karibo is a Link 1 that is made with 1 level 1 monster. So any of our white stones can become Link Karibo. And while Link Karibo is solid, that is mostly useful because I want those white stones into the grave to be able to activate their effects. And in exchange, Link Karibo is also pretty decent. It's only got 300 attack, but it's got a quick effect that you can tribute this, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can tribute this card to make that attack 0. And of course, quick effect, while this card's in your graveyard, you can tribute a level 1 monster to special summon this card, which is pretty cool. Definitely want that, so we have a way to get rid of our level 1s. Also a card that I really liked in Skull Servants for that reason with White Prince. Next up, we're playing a couple copies of the Synchro, 2 copies of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon requires a tuner and a non-tuner Blue Eyes monster. It's a level 9, so White Stone. So any of the tuners we're playing in this deck and Blue Eyes can make this card. Neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. This was made to be a big anti-pendulum card. That effect sometimes comes up. And then once per turn, during either player's turn, when an effect of a card is active and the graveyard is activated, you can negate the activation. Pretty cool. Lots of cards do that, so nice to have a tool to negate those. And then during either player's turn, you contribute this synchro summoned card to special summon a light dragon type synchro monster from your extra deck in defense position, but destroy it during the end phase. So we can use that to tag this card out into Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, the old level 9 Blue Eyes Synchro, requires a tuner and a non-tuner normal monster. When this card is special summoned, dragon type monsters you currently control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Now that is very nice. And that effect lasts to the end of the turn, but that effect will stop this card from being destroyed by Spirit's effect. So, definitely designed to work together. I really like that synergy. Very cool. And then once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target a normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So Blue Eyes White Dragon, very cool. We'll bring it back. Next up, I'm playing one copy of Hope Harbinger. This card is a rank 8 Xyz that requires 2 level 8 monsters. And for that, once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card or effect is activated on the field, you can negate that effect, and if you do, attach it to this card as material. So, just once per turn, you get to negate a spell card, and that's pretty good. Spell cards are very powerful. Having a way to negate it is awesome. Then when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can detach a material from this card, change the attack target to this card, which is pretty nice. And of course, you change it to this card and it attacks. And then, of course, if a face-up XYZ monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a face-up XZ monster you control, gains attack equal to one of those monsters' original attack. Not that last effect doesn't come up too often. Mostly in here to be spell negation, and it does that. And lastly, from my last card, just kind of filling up extra deck space, a copy of Thunder End Dragon. It's 2 level 8 normal monsters, and once per turn, detach a material to destroy all other monsters on the field. So, not bad, but I would just play another copy of Hope Harbinger if I had it. This is mostly just filling up extra deck space, so any other extra deck monsters you would rather play, go for it. And that is the extra deck. So that is it for my Berserk Dragon Blue Eyes deck profile. Very cool deck to play Berserk Dragon, make use of skill drain and trap cards, some of my favorite playstyle. So always have a lot of fun playing this deck. Always love seeing Berserk Dragon hit the field, especially this one I pulled from Dark Crisis when I was quite a young child at Christmas. So definitely holds a special place in my heart. But it's very fun. Let me know what you think. Do you like Berserk Dragon, or do you have any wacky fun variants of Blue Eyes? I think Blue Eyes has a lot of opportunity to play, just kind of wacky cool cards for really silly versions of the deck if you got a casual group to do some goony stuff like that. But anyway, I appreciate y'all checking it out, and I'll catch you in the next one.